Frank Gruber, I am at Techstars still, and I'm talking with Foodzie. Everyone loves food. Gourmet food's excellent, but where can you sell it if you're online? I really don't know off the top of my head. So Foodie's coming in to kind of solve a problem. I kind of think of them as the Etsy meets gourmet food. So we're talking with the founders today.
So I'm Nick Ballin. I'm the technology lead for Foodzie, I guess CTO you could say. I do all the back-end programming.
Hi, I'm Emily Olson. I am the, chief foodie on the team. I eat
That's
all
a good
food.
role. Awesome. That's what I want. I want that role. If you ever need help, let me know.
Yeah.
My name is Rob Lefebvre, and I do our business development and design on Foodzie.
Oh.
So just kind of doing what you see there on the front end and trying to develop a revenue model around it.
So tell me a little bit more about Foodzie and how did you guys come up with this idea of doing Foodzie in general?
So I worked for a specialty food retailer called the Fresh Market.
Oh, okay.
And they, it was a chain on the East Coast, and I managed their e-commerce there and also their private label program. And through that experience, I met a lot of really small producers. And just most specialty stores or most retail stores, there's a bunch of different hoops kind of producers have to jump through. And so whether it be pricing, packaging, they couldn't distribute to all the stores. There were all these reasons that a lot of these small producers didn't make it into the store. And I realized they needed a better way to connect with all the foodies like us who were
It's almost like indie food in a way, like indie rock or indie music. Like it gives them a channel to kind of get out there.
Yeah, I mean it's hard if you aren't, if you don't make it into Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Where do you sell your products so people find out about you? And there's so many great little producers out there who make really good stuff, whether it's an olive oil from Napa or a little cookie maker from North Carolina, whatever. There's so many of them out there, and so it's about connecting those with all these foodies who are looking for those products, and that's what Foodie's all about.
So Foodzie, is it like a hub then, or do you actually set up individual stores, or how does that work? Like if let's say I make really good popcorn.
Yeah.
And I want to set up a store, or I want to use Foodzie in some way.
Sure. So the way that it's structured is we have subdomains for each of the individual artisan producers that we work with. And basically we allow them to have their own little store where they can imbue their sense of brand and character, and then we aggregate all of their products out into a marketplace where foodies can kind of just discover it by category or geography and things like that.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. From a technology perspective, what can you tell me about Foodzie?
Well, Foodzie, we wanted to make it easy for vendors to communicate to their customers and easy for customers to communicate with their vendors. And while you can go to Amazon and leave a review of a product, that doesn't necessarily get back to the vendor. So we want to make sure that if a lot of these vendors are already trying to differentiate themselves online with blog feeds and Flickr feeds and stuff like that. So we want to let them bring that content in to introduce them to customers, and we also want to let customers communicate with the vendors through Foodzie so that there's dialogue and conversation. So that's a lot of what we're going for. And also we want to kind of apply a lot of the standard web technologies like tags to food, and no one's really done that yet. And we think it's a very valuable way for people to search and find food, especially with dietary considerations and geographically based food.
So when you say there's a lot of different things that people are using to differentiate, like APIs, I'm assuming you're referring to like Flickr's API and things like that. Are you pulling things in?
We will be pulling things in. So what I meant by the vendors are trying to highlight themselves on the web, but they don't really know how to do it. So they're creating their own blogs, they're creating their own Flickr
one-off
feeds.
thing.
Exactly. So we're trying to bring all that in.
Aggregate it together. Makes sense. And then in strength in numbers, people might be able to sell their stuff to the group, right? To people, consumers.
Sure, because a lot of them already actually have a website, and some of them have e-commerce. But for someone to know about it, in the sea of Google to search olive oil,
good luck.
for this little producer to come up at the top, no one's going to find them. So unless it's an existing customer that already knows about them, then it's really hard to get new customers on the web. So that's sort of our mission is to highlight these producers in a way. And SEO is pretty big. We feel like by aggregating them all within Foodzie,
you can actually
we can get them all up much higher in the search ranking.
Exactly. Question for you then: what about let's say I am really into healthy foods, and I want to create, I don't actually produce food because that would be a disaster, but I actually love to, lately I've been doing a lot of wheatgrass shots, and maybe there's a certain kind of wheatgrass that I would think, you guys should buy. Is there a way that I could create my own little somewhat frank Foodzie hub that I could, more or less sell some of the food through, like an affiliate almost or something like that for some of these producers? Is that something you're doing, or is that
What you will be able to do, we will have an affiliate program where you can highlight producers that are on Foodzie, and
Right.
you can also, we want to allow people to suggest products, and we want to highlight them when we go out and find those products and bring them into Foodzie.
Okay.
So if you know of a certain producer that you want on Foodzie, you can tell us,
Okay.
and once we get them on Foodzie, we'll highlight them and you and stuff
okay.
like that.
So that right now, first phase, it's not like Frank can't have his own little page of favorite Foodie's foods, could he, or no?
Currently, you'd be able to have a profile where you could highlight the things that you
okay.
really love.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have your own storefront
Right.
where it would kind of be like,
Right, right.
here's Frank's retail shop, because we really want the food to come directly from the producer.
That makes sense,
But if
yeah.
you want to highlight the stuff that you love, you can, either do that in your profile or create a group.
Okay.
Where
And then
you'd
help
be able
those
to
guys
share.
almost sell it. Okay, that makes sense. So from a business model perspective, are you charging people to be on Foodzie, or is it, how does that work?
So basically, the way that it works from a business perspective is there's no cost to set up any of the storefront for the producer, so there's really a low barrier to entry, and that was really what we wanted to do from the outset. And what it is we have a commission-based model where when we actually sell a product, we have a transaction fee and a commission that the producer pays.
That's awesome.
So
you
it's
pretty
really
much,
good for the small producer, and
Right.
they'll be able
Yeah.
to make far more margin than they do
Yeah.
in traditional retail models.
wow, that's great. What stores do you have set up? I think there's a couple, right?
Yeah, so we have 3 stores set
Yeah.
up. We have Seth Ellis Chocolatier, which is an organic chocolate maker.
Yeah.
We also have Boulder Popcorn. They
Popcorn.
have gourmet popcorn, like heirloom kernels.
Right.
Really, really great stuff.
Awesome.
And then we also have Tutulia Teas, which they make organic teas. And the cool part about them is they actually like take care of all the farmers, and they help them to get educated. And the packaging is compostable. So there's like these great stories behind all these
Right.
producers, and of course that
Are-
we get excited about.
Are there any restrictions on, like, for example, I have a friend that does, creates liquor. He's creates actually
Yeah.
liquor from wheat that he grows on his farm. It's called Death Door Spirits. And would he be something that could actually sell on your site, or is there like a certain rules about alcohol and that kind of thing?
Yeah, right now we aren't selling any alcohol,
Yeah.
just because logistically
Yeah.
there's a lot of rules.
A lot more,
So,
yeah, I know, yeah.
and it's pretty tricky.
Yeah.
But we do see that, like, particularly wine and
Wine, yeah.
microbrews,
Yep.
that they're a huge opportunity for us. And,
Right.
one of the ideas that we have is pairing. So, whether it be a cheese and a fig preserve or whatever it is, or a cheese with the wine, we feel like that's a great
Mix.
thing that we can start. They're very complementary, and so
Definitely.
we can get to that. But we're going to focus on food right now,
Hard,
just because
yeah.
we want to nail that, and then
Makes
we'll
sense.
get into.
Great. Well, could we see a quick demo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great.
So this is our homepage, and this is where our marketplace will be. But since we're just offering a sneak preview, this is where our 3 alpha stores are. And when you go to the Seth Ellis storefront, you see a little bit about the producer up at the top. You see their logo. They can choose the color and the text to kind of imbue their character in the marketplace. And then you have their product listings, and over on the right, you have a picture of the founders and a quote. And this is to really introduce the people, the customers, to the person behind the product that they're buying, and to kind of establish some trust. And so when you go to the product page, of course, you see lots of really beautiful pictures.
Wow, yeah, that makes sense.
To try to romance the food. Of course, you can add it to your cart, but then we have ingredients, allergens, and tags. And the ingredients allow the producer to do the full-on FDA-style ingredients with super ingredients and sub-ingredients, so that the consumer knows exactly what's going into their food. And allergens is a way for the producer to highlight very important information about that product and allergens in the facility or whatnot. And all of this is so that the consumer really has a very high level of confidence and feels ready, like they can make a purchase. And then we use tags to kind of take this information and enable the consumer to navigate our site with it. So when you click on gluten-free, you can see all the products within the marketplace that are tagged as gluten-free.
Great.
Notice on the side we still have a little bit about the founders, and we also have a little video over here, and this is really just the beginning of what we want to do with the content produced by the actual food maker. And this is a video about how they create the enrobed candied lemon.
Cool.
And this is what we've built for the producers to manage their store. And so this is what Seth Ellis Chocolatier would see if he were to log in. And what we wanted to do is, we know that artisan producers oftentimes use local products, oftentimes they have seasonal products. What we want to do is allow them to very easily deactivate a product if it goes out of season or if they run out of an ingredient.
I'm really inspired by what you guys have done, and actually I've been getting emails from people that have seen it. I wrote about it the other day when you guys did the investor day, and they are already asking me questions like, can you do this, can you do that? And so obviously I think you've got something here. So good luck with everything. Really appreciate you guys taking the time and being on Some of Frank TV.
Yeah, thank you.